Hi everyone and welcome back to the WARNO April tournament. So today we have a game, Fran Norden vs Broski. Fran Norden playing on the right hand side in red as the 8th Infantry Division, and then Broski playing on the left in blue as the 5th Panzer Division. Now this is the last set of games we will be doing for the third round, and we'll move on to the fourth. The third round's been a little bit up and down because of the issues of desyncing, etc. But the fourth round will majoritively be in the new patch, so we have a fresh start and probably a lot of 5th Panzer Division, but watch this space. So today's game is fairly long, and as we get further into the tournament, it balances out the skill levels of the players. Fran Norden and Broski being about the mid-level, so they're certainly not the top and they're nowhere near the bottom, so they're mid-top range. Now, these guys obviously are much more balanced than they were, so the games are getting longer. With that in mind, for this game, we'll split them up. So we'll have the first game today and the second game tomorrow. Otherwise, they'll be well over an hour long, and you guys will all get bored, and it'll drive me mad trying to edit the sound for that. So, let's get on with the game. So, Fran, doing an early push, wants to get into this bottom point. But we've got early command vehicle coming in there for Broski, and a command vehicle in here as well. Or is it command? Oh, there's a command tank. Very nice. Obviously getting early points. Broski wanting that slight advantage. Up in the center, we're seeing a lot of alpha jets coming in. I'm wondering how much success that Broski is actually having with these. Seemingly not a lot against the Jägeraufgabe in these buildings. Obviously, infantry and buildings get a lot of defense against HE, and honestly these alpha jets just aren't that good. They only fire about 9 or 10 rockets per pass, and they just don't feel great. I'm curious if he's getting many kills with them. Very little on that. Doesn't appear to have hit anything there. Going back in for the building here. Yeah, and doing no damage to those Jaeger. They feel like a bit of a waste at the moment. I'd really like to see them changed, I guess, to fire all their rockets at once in one pass, or even half of their rockets. At least it feels like they'd be doing more damage, but obviously not very much use against units in buildings. Down here, things have settled down a bit. The Leopard 1A5 command tank has been pulled right back. Those alpha jets still going round and round in circles. I'm surprised we haven't seen more AA jets from Fran Norden, to be honest. He's bringing his own command vehicles in now to neutralize this, as obviously Broski is getting a very early lead in those points. And now we're seeing these players with very similar skill levels. We're seeing games relying on points more than they're relying on one player smashing through the enemy's lines. Both players making good use of selling their transport vehicles. Something we're seeing more and more in these tournament games are these cheap trucks that can then be sold off afterwards to get extra points to bring in more units. We're seeing less and less of the combat vehicles. Though, that said, of course, we are seeing plenty of Marders, those being very good. That said, in the new patch, the Milans have been nerfed slightly, so we'll see if that changes. Everything a little bit quiet on the western front, shall we say, right now. A little bit of skirmishing going on down here, but both players are waiting for reinforcements. Fran Norden spent most of his cash at the moment on those command vehicles, as he is bringing in 3, 1 for each point. Up here at the top, a little bit of combat going on with a Marder 1A3 there versus the Heimatsuchen. Heimatsuchen actually succeeded there, obviously a bit too close with the Marder. You want to be at a bit longer range. Abrams being called in by Fran Norden there. It's always going to be an interesting matchup when you get players of a similar level, because their tactics can vary wildly. Obviously, you've got Fran Norden here being a little bit more aggressive, pushing quite aggressively at the bottom of the map, and more building a defensive line in the center without an intent to push hard. Down here we can see reinforcements coming in for Broski. I think the other thing for Broski is he's obviously spent a lot of early points on those alpha jets rather than more ground units to push anywhere in particular. That is a strategy within itself. Early bombers can be very useful if used well. Not convinced the alpha jets are the best use of those points though. They just don't do enough for me in the game currently. Obviously, the rocket jets in Wargame Red Dragon, a little bit different. fire all their missiles at once, or their rockets at once, do a bit more damage. A few air defenses and things coming in, mostly tanks. Both players building up their forces currently rather than doing aggressive maneuvers immediately. Now that's an interesting maneuver. That is a Leopard 2A3 command tank, obviously being provided smoke there as well. Not something we've seen used a lot in these tournament games, smoke, so I'm pleased to see it actually being used. Nice cloud effect. I don't know why, but I feel like it looks bigger in Wargame. But I do like the cloud effect. In terms of little skirmishes, not a lot happening still at the moment. Both players just building up their forces. I think the intent for Fran Norden will be to eventually make a further push on this bottom point. I don't see enough forces being built up in the center to do an aggressive push there necessarily. There's more of a build up here. That said, tanks are sort of up at the top, in the middle. That tank a little bit unsupported, but there is a Bradley coming in there. Oh, we've got an F4F HE bomber coming in there. Where's that going for? Oh, absolutely decimating that building. Those are some very nice explosions. Look at that. Do you like the clouds? Broski is making a push. I mean, that was going to be my next comment. The other place that there are buildable units is here for Broski. And he is doing a little push, getting a little bit too close with those Marders without infantry support, though. Those took fire. One is dead. It's an unfortunate loss. Obviously, the Bradley is there as well. Really, you need to get some infantry in front of those vehicles to be a distraction as well. Smoke being laid down in front of the enemy Abrams tank to stop Fran Norden being able to fire it across the field. Very good use of smoke. Again, not something we've seen used a lot in WARNO tournaments so far. Smoke has sort of been on the back burner. Down here, another bombing run coming in. Those Heimatsuchen also dead. Really effective against these buildings. That was a Tornado IDS HE. Not something, again, we're seeing a huge amount of in these tournaments. HE bombers. Lots of cluster bombers. HE bombers, less so to some extent. More from the American HE bombers, I would say. Got that Alpha Jet rocket attack plane coming back in now. See what it's going to hit. I think that was just an attack command on the ground at where they'd previously seen units, rather than actually being able to see those Heimatsuchen, who should be well hidden. This little maneuver not going too badly for Broski. He is getting closer. He's within range to fire anti-tank at that Abrams. Fran Norden realizing the mistake that the tank is a little bit too close and is now backing off. Broski's forces taking a fair bit of damage from that tank, but not a lot. I mean, they are in the forest. They will be getting defensive bonuses. But Broski thinking better of that little assault. That Abrams still being covered by smoke. And the same at the top as well. I think mainly there to cover the retreating units. Raven flittering around there. Didn't seem to get a shot off. Oh, wow. So, if you're not sure about people's skill level, one of the things you can look at is how they're playing with their anti-air. So here we can see that Broski is turning his Jeopards on and off. That shows some skill. As I say, these guys, mid to mid-top tier. So you're seeing those extra skill levels come out where they're turning off their radar AA to stop it being destroyed by seaplanes. Heimatsuchen here, engaging with the Pioneers. Pioneers should be super effective as long as they get up close and personal, because they have those satchel charges. Let's just, yep, immediately dead. Satchel charges, ridiculously good. Now, problem for Broski is coming up a little M60 tank. Pioneers, not so much use there. Panzergrenadiers, however, will be useful against it with the Carl Gustav. Loads of mech rifles coming in as reinforcements there for Fran Norden now. That Leopard staying well out of the way. It's a shame it can't be utilised at the moment to provide some fire support. There are another Leopard 1A5 there, 2 in total. This is a much more thought out, methodical game. It's not where you've got 2 very aggressive players. These are players who are slightly more defensive in their playstyle. So we're seeing a bit of a matchup of 2 very similar players. Fran trying to be a little bit more aggressive, but this is a slower playstyle than we might see from someone like Derek S. or Ski, who will be playing a much faster, much more aggressive game for the most part. Jaeger Aufkel all the way up here now. Weapons are turned on, however, so they have been spotted because they want to engage stuff. They will not last very long. Pioneer Armbrust being brought in by Broski there. Not a lot happening at the top now. Those Jaeger engaging his Jaeger. Jaeger versus Jaeger. Interestingly, that Bradley has survived its engagement with the infantry that were up there at the top. By the skin of its teeth, it's got 1 point of health. Let's have a little look around the map. Now again, something we're not seeing very much in this tournament is people getting units round the back very often. I mean, missing an opportunity here because there's no recon at either side, and if you did have some chopper infantry, it would be quite easy to sort of swing it round this edge of the map and bring it back in and kill this CV. As obviously right now, CV sniping wouldn't be a bad thing for Broski, as he's already ahead in points and needs to get there further. We're seeing some movement down at this bottom point by Fran Norden. Broski still relying on his jet to do some damage. HE bombs, obviously not quite as effective in the forest unless they get a direct hit, because forests, much like towns, do provide some bonus defense against HE and fire for the troops that are in there. IDS HE bomber coming in on these buildings. Oh, that was devastating. Poor Fran Norden, that was everything. The blast radius on those bombs, they are big bombs to be fair on that jet. But that was absolutely devastating. The ones in the building even got whacked, the ones in the forest. Really nice bombing run. Also a bit of use of some mortars there, but obviously Broski doesn't know it, but completely unnecessary. That bomber did its job perfectly. Quite a few units at the front here for Fran Norden. I'm wondering what the plan is with them. I assume more defensive than anything else. Obviously the Jaeger Aufkel were being used to get a little bit of advanced warning. Fran Norden still holding here, but those Pioneer Armbusts coming in. Alpha Jets being brought in again to fire off some missiles. Being called out straight away. Has taken some damage from that Chaparral. Small build-up of forces here for Fran Norden. Not sure if there's an intent to push there. Lots more mech rifles coming in down the bottom. I assume to reinforce this point and push back in. There's an F4F. Bomber again. Now, the F4F HE2 is the bomber that suffers, I believe, from dropping its bombs early. So it actually dropped in front of all of these units, so did limited damage to them. That was a little bit better from the Alpha Jet. I think it actually did a bit of damage there. Not sure how many rockets it actually fired. Honestly, Fran Norden doesn't have a huge amount of air defense up here either. There's a Chaparral there, but that's about it. Nothing currently being called in either. Competing bomber coming in now from Fran Norden, hitting this town. Nice straight run through the middle of the town, but minimal damage. Has damaged the Jaeger Aufkel. Nothing to those Pioneers, nothing to those Pioneers, and obviously Leopard 1A5 command untouched. Those mech rifles coming in now, though, will be putting up more of a fight, though will struggle against these Pioneers if they can get up close and personal. Not sure where those Pioneers are running off to. Maybe they're planning to go through the forest instead. These Pioneers do have 3 satchel charges left, but it depends where these mech rifles are going to go. Both players making use of mortars in this game. Again, something we're not seeing hugely often in this tournament. Oh, bombing run after bombing run. IDS, HE bombers. Really big bombs, really effective. Wiped out that squad at the back there. Quite a bit of damage to these mech rifles as well. I mean, I think it's safe to say that Broski is getting back in this bottom corner. Points are stalemated right now, and we are, what, 16 minutes-ish into the game. At the moment, if it stays as it is, then Broski will win, because he's slightly ahead in points. However, the question is, can Fran Norden somehow get a little bit of... Oh, hello. So I'm thinking in my head, how can Fran Norden get ahead here? Fran Norden needs to kill a command vehicle or needs to neutralize this point. And as I was pondering that in my head, sure enough, we can see an M1 Abrams command tank coming in along with plenty of reinforcements. I think the intention here from Fran Norden is to get that into this point. We've got 2 M1 Abrams there as well. We've got a lot of reinforcements also coming into this area from Broski. We've got plenty of tanks. 3 1A5s, a 2A3, another 2 1A5s that were over here before, pushing into this area. That's an interesting maneuver. We've also got a Jaguar 2 coming in. Another 2A3. That's a heavy, heavy amount of tanks. Where's that F4F going this time? Has he positioned it a bit better? Just caught that building, but again, I don't think he's quite targeting it correctly. I think that has been fixed in the latest patch, though. Obviously, this game is on the previous patch. But using that to move up those Jaeger, hopefully into these destroyed buildings, I expect. Lots of tanks being moved up here to provide covering fire. These mech rifles taking a lot of fire. Those Pioneers running up close and personal. But unfortunately, those Pioneers taking fire from everything. From tanks, from infantry transport vehicles. Yeah, they did not fare well. That was a bit of a suicide run by Broski there. But look at all of this fire going on right now. Let's zoom in for a closer look. You can't see too much because everyone's firing out of the forest and the buildings, but there's another building collapsed there. Zoom in on this tank, which is sat on the corpse of another tank and is now a corpse itself. Lots of infantry fire coming across to that. Whoa! Was that a jet? I think that was. I think that was an F-16 cluster coming in there. That was very low down. Wow. That would have been a nice screenshot moment. Very unexpected. Now, if only I was in VR seeing that, I would have pooped myself. Look at this. I'm really pleased to be seeing mortars used. You know, I don't feel like they always do a huge amount in this game, but I'm pleased to see them being used. F4F came in there doing a pass. I think it probably dropped and then wasn't evac'd, and that was just another pass through because I can't see any remaining explosions. What a fight, though. What a big fight that was. There's that Abrams command tank. IDS bomber coming in there. Where's it dropping? Oh. Good drop, but didn't actually... I think it missed completely. What were they getting protected by? Possibly that destroyed building. They took very little damage, and they were pretty close to where those bombs dropped. I'm surprised they survived. Another command vehicle coming in there, I assume to up-vet these units. I don't know if the intention was hoping that Broski could push through this slot and get into this point. I'm honestly not sure. Oh, there it is. M1 Abrams command tank has pushed into this point and is now neutralized it, which means that Fran Norden is +2. Real stalemate in the middle, though. There is very little movement from either player. A couple of units sat doing not a lot there. That Bradley's still there with his 1 pip of health, not doing anything. That Abrams hasn't moved in a very, very long time, and it's still on half health. Broski with a selection of units there, but no intent to push. I mean, it's quite a weird game in the middle. I would have hoped that Broski would have used maybe some of the forces that he had clustered down here to push around the top even. As a lot of those tanks would have been quite good to push across this centre point. certainly would have messed up Fran Norden's plans of sending lots of units down here. There are those Alpha Jets with the rockets again coming in. Just not doing a lot. Take them out your deck, broski. They're not good enough. You're doing so well with your HE bombers. Get rid of those rocket bombers. The rocket jets just are not worth it. Bit of blind bombing going on here as well, I think, from Broski, because he obviously can't see exactly where the units are. He just knows they're in there. What I haven't seen from Broski yet is a cluster bomber, and right now could really use one to take out this command tank, though of course he won't probably know that it is a command tank in there. Now, at these back points, you've got Broski with a command vehicle in Echo and 2 mortars, no defences. You've got at this side Fran Norden with a CV in Charlie and a CV in Delta, and again, no defences. There's nothing there protecting them. One chopper round the back would destroy them. One chopper with infantry round the back, an infantry squad doing the long run all the way around. Yes, it's risky business, and it'll take them a hell of a long time to run all the way around there, but my gosh, if you catch someone who's got an undefended CV like here, you're going to do some serious damage, cost them a lot of points, and, you know, get a nice boost to your points. But right now, Broski is on the back foot. Broski needs to take one of these points, or neutralize this point again back to his control. I say neutralize, I mean take it back to control. Needs to kill that command tank, or needs to push the center, which is going to be a more pressing challenge, I think. I'm just looking and trying to decide what would be easier. HE bomber coming in again, better targeted that time, has managed to take out that building and the infantry that were in it. Took a shot from the chaparral, but one shot from a chaparral is not enough. Build up of 3 tanks here, 4 tanks if you include the M60. Stingers coming in there for a bit more defense, Pivads and a chaparral. I wish those had been in a little bit earlier. I feel like Fran Norden could have been killing some of these bombers that have been coming in from Broski. I'm looking and I'm trying to decide where Broski could push, where would be the easiest place to push. Right now, looking from Broski's, he doesn't know what's there. There's a lot of infantry here, but there isn't any anti-infantry, so some pioneer squads here would easily run through there. You just need to provide some cover to stop the M1 Abrams firing, and then get close enough to destroy it with some other infantry or a tank of your own. So getting in here to kill that command CV round the top, probably the easiest push that Broski has right now, whereas down here at the bottom of the map, a much more difficult push, I think. Much more difficult. Bombers coming in there, dropping again on this corner. Seaplane coming in. That Pivads wasn't turned up, but unfortunately the seaplane missed and it has been destroyed. Oh, that is very unfortunate. Seaplane managed to launch both its missiles, but they're just not as accurate in this game as they seem to be in Wargame Red Dragon. Kiowa coming in for scouting now. Just looking at the map, thinking lots of reinforcements coming in here. Fran Norden knows that all he needs to do is hold out, keep those points ticking up, and keep the pressure on this point. Fran Norden likely wanting to do a further push. You know, I think Fran Norden would like to kill that command vehicle. There are 2 enemy command vehicles in the center, and I don't think Fran Norden has a chance of doing that push. I honestly think that Fran Norden couldn't dislodge Broski from the center, and even if he managed to push one side and kill one CV, the other one is still there. That said, I feel like Broski's strongest chance of pushing a point is still going to be to kill that Abrams command tank up there. If Broski had a cluster bomber in their deck, I would suicide run it on this tank. If he knew it was a tank there, or knew it was a vehicle, I would take the risk. I honestly would suicide it. Even if I knew it was going to die, he needs to recap that point and get rid of Fran Norden's tank. He knows there is something in that corner. He just doesn't know what it is. I would just be hitting it with everything I had. But I don't know what is going through Broski's head right now. Toe Cobra really, really up close and personal the front lines there. That Jeopard weapon is on, but it is badly damaged. Toe Cobra far too close to the front. Has been killed by general fire from the tanks and obviously the Jeopard that was brought up there as well. There is the Kiowa there with his Hellfire missiles. It is out of missiles, however. I'm not sure if it managed to kill anything. It's probably certainly done some damage. I expected that Jeopard there, for example. What have we got going on down here? Not a lot, to be honest. No movement in the center. It's completely stalemated. There's so much focus from both players down here. How many bombers does Broski have left at this point is a big question in my mind. I mean, there are so many infantry from Fran Norden in this corner. There are stingers as well. Here come the bombers. Tornado IDS. Tornado IDS. Yes, come on. Beautiful. Doing some serious damage. Oh, that wasn't a great shot. Seed planes coming in. Rocket attack planes coming in. Oh, the seed planes worked this time. It has killed. It killed its target and survived. Alpha jets not doing a huge amount. There is a bit of damage to that M60 there. Oh, one of those Alpha jets got killed. Not overly surprising. That was a beautiful, coordinated bombing run from Broski, though. Hitting multiple areas at once. Just unfortunate that that bombing run didn't do a huge amount up there. I honestly would have focused all my firepower on this corner in hope that I did some kind of damage to that tank. A bomb landing directly on top of that tank would still do it damage. It's not going to do damage around it, but if it, you know, you have the opportunity to hit it directly on top, it is going to do damage to that top armor. HE bomber coming in now from Fran Norden. It is taking fire from those defenses. Lovely bombing strike against that entire area there. You've got to give it to the F111s. They do have a lovely strip of bombs. Cluster bomber coming in there to try and take out that Leopard. Don't think it took any damage from the bombs. Took a little bit of damage from something else though, but is being reversed out of there. Really good tanks, the Leopard 203s. Just no move. I really wish Broski had pushed the top of that point. I feel like both players have got very bogged down in this point. And all I can think is Broski must not have a cluster bomber in his deck. Broski, if you're watching this video, remove the Alpha Jet, replace it with a cluster bomber. If you had a cluster bomber, you would be ahead right now. I genuinely believe if you had a cluster bomber and you coordinated it with the attack on that corner, you'd be ahead. I mean, you've managed to do a little bit of damage to that tank. So I'm assuming you know it's a tank. But I've not seen a cluster bomber, and I can only assume you don't have one. But please, switch that in your deck. Get rid of the Alpha Jets. They're useless to you. Get yourself a cluster bomber. Another command tank coming in for Broski here. What's the plan? I'm wondering what the plan is here with that second command tank. I'm curious. I'm hoping to see something interesting done. Mortar's still being used. More so by Fran Norden now. Mech rifles quite far up, as they have been for a while. They weren't killed by that bombing run. Good use of repair and everything by both players. Broski getting a repair on all of his vehicles here. Unfortunately, it only brought one repair truck, I think. One supply truck. Just not enough in there. Oh, it's the armored supply truck. Yeah, get rid of that now. Just bring the vehicles. The other trucks. Since they've repriced everything, it's probably not worth it as much. "10 minutes left in this game. And at the moment, It's a win to Fran Norden. Broski needs to make a move. He is indeed making a move down here. But not with a lot. We got Pioneer Flams, which are obviously great with the Hand Flam Patron. You know how much I love that unit. Along with the Leopard coming in as well. Going up against a Bradley and a lot of Heimatsuchen. Oh, why is that tank out front? Oh, God. Oh, no, bro. Oh, that is a nasty loss. Bombers coming back in front of the bombing run, hitting way behind the point for some reason. It's that F for F again. Landing too far in front of where you've targeted. That's such a shame. I'm loving the coordinated bombing runs, Broski, but you're targeting just slightly off. Just slightly off. Such a shame. Pioneer Flams coming in. Leopard 203 being rushed in now. Broski knows he needs to push. He needs to take this point. Needs to get it back. Putting a lot of fire down on that command vehicle. Oh, can... Leopard 203 taking shots from those units now. Jaeger Alpha engaging as well. There's a lot of smoke at that side. Look at this poor tank. I can hear a jet coming in. HE bomber. Did a little bit of damage, not a lot. Those units routing. Some Jaeger coming in. More reinforcements. Panzer Grenadiers. That tank getting some shots off, but command vehicle still remains intact. Mortars coming in as well now. See a fighting Falcon fluttering around for Fran Norden at the back there. No movement on the rest of the map still. It's all about down here. F-16 seed plane. I don't think there's actually any targets for it now. Oh, was that the Leopard 2A3 dead? No, it's at the back. It was just a modern 1A3. Oh, F-11F comes in. Lovely stripe of bombs. Not sure it managed to kill very much. It is... Two squads are rotating. It is the Marder and the Panzer Grenadier pushing up hard with the 2A3 now. Hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. In all the commotion... Command tank has pulled out of the point. Just pulled out to repair a bit, though. Fran Norden now bringing in the mortars. Leopard 2A3 pushing really hard and aggressively. It's a very risky move. Very risky move. I wouldn't get your Leopard 2A3 up that close and personal to those infantry. The Jaeger did it. The Jaeger have killed the command tank from Fran Norden. This could be a turning point in this match. Broski needs to keep up that momentum, though. Needs to keep pushing. Cannot stall. Needs to get into Delta. Oh, there's units here, but they can't really push across there. Oh, how much does he actually have here? Not enough. There's all these tanks back here. There's two 2A3s there. No, 3. 1, 2, 3. Broski, do something with them. You've got 3 really powerful tanks sat at the back doing nothing. They need repairing and they need pushing forward. Hang on. Leopard. Hang on, are they fully... And as I say this, to the screen, they are moving. There were actually 4 there. There are 4 Leopard 2A3s fully healed. Just sat there. Do something with them, man. Get them down here and help your infantry. If you've got 3 or 4 of them, you can afford to get a little bit closer and support your infantry. Don't send them to the middle. He has units in the middle. Send them down here where he's got nothing now. You totally outgun him. Oh. I'm just feeling so much stress and anguish for Broski right now. He doesn't realise how much of an advantage he has. I didn't realise he had 4 2A3s up there. He needs to keep them moving and spread out, because we know that Fran Norden has cluster bombers, and those are a prime target, especially if they're close together. Oh, Broski. If you pushed those up with your infantry, I feel like you'd have done so much damage down here at the bottom. That's such a shame. But now your infantry's mostly pulled back. You've got the pioneers there. You've got 2 squads. I mean, those pioneers will be devastating against these units that are here, especially when they're all clustered like that. Where are your bombers? There's 4 minutes left. You need to push. You need to change these points. He's now bringing in units at the top as well. That feels like a waste at this point. Oh, that is such a shame. I feel like that's... oh. There's such disappointment in my heart for Broski right now, because I feel like in terms of forces on the field, all those points that are going to the top, if he had spent them on the bottom point here and moved all of his infantry and all 4 of those big tanks, the 2A3s together at this bottom point, using the 2A3s to provide covering fire, he could have easily ploughed through what Fran Norden has here and taken out that command vehicle, which has no defense, and then sweeped round the back and killed that command vehicle. The potential was there. Obviously, Broski doesn't know that. Doesn't know what Fran Norden has. I'm speaking from a position of knowing what's there, so I have that advantage, but I just feel like Broski had so much firepower and has left it too late to do anything with it. I mean, even all 4 of those Leopard 2A3s, if they'd been up at the top of the map instead of down here doing nothing, if they'd been up there, again, he could have pushed through and taken the centre. Oh, that is such a shame. Such a shame. But well played by Fran Norden. Has put up a continuing aggressive fight down at this bottom point and is going to get the win on points. But just look at the damage to the ground here. All the fighting over this entire game has been in this area of the map. It's just been a constant stream of bombers, a constant stream of infantry. Here's the HE bombers coming in from Fran Norden now, trying to take out all those reinforcements coming in. Thankfully for Broski, has missed and not killed a lot, but it's too late now. There's a minute to go. 1, 2, 3. 3 Leopard 2A3s all sat on top of each other. Do not do that, people. That is a mistake. 1 cluster bomber will kill them all. You need to keep them spread out. You need to keep them moving. You need to be aggressive with them. They're sat doing nothing. That is such a shame. They're on the move now, but they're still all clustered together. It would be really easy for a cluster bomber to come out from Fran Norden and wipe them off the map. It's such a shame. Look at this push now. Pushing with those tanks as well. Perhaps a little bit too aggressively near these mech rifles. But, you know, this is a desperate last-minute push in the last 30 seconds from Broski. If he had done this push 5-10 minutes ago, all in, he would have been through this point and Fran Norden would have been on the back foot and potentially have lost this game. That is such a shame. I am incredibly disappointed for Broski in this match, because I can see the firepower that he has. But this last dish, aggressive push, he's losing the 2A3s. It's such a shame. What an absolute shame. Let's have a quick look at the kills. I mean, look at that. Look at the kills to losses here. Broski had so many more kills. That goes to show how much more firepower Broski still had on the field compared to Fran Norden. And this is what I'm saying. Broski had the forces there to easily smash through Fran Norden's front lines. Oh, the pain I am feeling for Broski right now. I'm just having a quick look through the kills and stuff. Look at the kills from that Tornado IDSHE. The F4F when it was targeted better or got lucky. The 2A3s. Look at the 2A3s, as always, getting so many kills. Oh, Broski. That game was yours for the taking. What a game. Well played to Fran Norden. I mean, you held off Broski's bigger force that entire game through sheer willpower alone at times. After losing huge amounts to the bombers, you just kept the pressure up on that bottom point. So, you know, you did an amazing job. Broski also did a fantastic job of pushing back. Has killed so much stuff. Had so much firepower on the field. Just didn't use it effectively. And Broski, please take the Alpha Jets out of your deck and replace them with a cluster bomber. Because your bombing runs, your coordinated bombing runs, were absolutely fantastic. But you need a cluster bomber in that deck. You really need a cluster bomber. But well done, guys. That was a really good game. Tune in tomorrow, everyone. We'll see the second game for this round for these two. And see if Fran Norden wins again, comes out on top. Or if Broski can put it back in the second match. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please like, share and subscribe. And I'll see you all soon for some more WARNO.